And the book that she was holding up was Maria Ressa's book, How to Stand Up to a Dictator. You saw it in the video. And that's what Zia has been doing, standing up to a dictatorship, in essence, to an autocratic regime. And that's why what her case represents could not be more important. She's now got the dubious honour of being the first female journalist imprisoned since the country's independence in 1991. And it's important to remember that the history of Zia's journalism and the history of Georgia are intertwined. Zia turned 50 this year while in prison in Georgia. I mean, what a place to spend your 50th birthday. But of course, she was 15, just about to turn 16, when Georgia seceded from the Soviet Union in 1991 on the second anniversary of the Soviet military crackdown on a large pro-independence rally in Tbilisi in 1989. She was a teenager at that formative time. She was only 25 when she co-founded the Batum Levy website with Etter, her colleague, in 2001. And they went on to launch the national news website NetGazeti in 2010. And just remarkable that you have women who were so young, who'd been forged in those fires of what they saw in teenage years, setting up these remarkable media organizations which have done such important work, and both are rightly regarded as unbiased, trustworthy news sources in Georgia's deeply polarized media. And right from the outset in 2001, their news sites have carried searing investigative journalism, fearless reporting, in-depth reporting on government policies and regional developments. And they've spoken out for years on minority rights, corruption, and they've stood up to Russian excesses in the region. And now that Zia is behind bars, as she has been since January, her colleagues have continued to fight that fight at great risk to themselves, including Irma, who sits beside me here today. Now, rightly, in 2015, 10 years ago, one of the European Press Prize, the Frit Ord Foundation and the Zeit Foundation Prize, went to their media organizations because of the fact that they weren't afraid of censorship and repression, and because of the fact that what these media outlets do, and what Zia does and what Zia's colleagues do, is all about European values, the vital importance of freedom of expression, the vital link between freedom of expression and democracy. And it's no surprise that over the years, because Zia trod on powerful toes, she was targeted by successive authorities for it. And one thing that I think is a critical part of this picture is that in 2020, NetGazeti launched its Russian language version, designed to improve access to information for Georgia's non-Georgian speaking citizens, including ethnic minorities, residents in conflict regions, and the broader South Caucasus. Now, that, of course, angered the Russian authorities, and the website was banned in Russia. In 2022, the Russian language versions of the sites were blocked by the Russian communications regulator. And there is a clear link between that and what we've then seen this year. Now, the cases against her, in brief, are dressed up as one thing, but essentially they amount to conspiracy to commit journalism. That's what these cases are truly about. They're designed to send a signal to others, and they're emblematic of that escalating repression in Georgia. She also, I'm afraid, during the time that she's been in custody, has had a real deterioration in her health and a deterioration in her eyesight. So she's down to only 10% sight in one eye, and that is irreversible. And she wrote recently in a piece in The Guardian, "When I was free, but already expecting arrest, I used to joke that prison would give me the time I always lacked. Finally, I could read. But here in Rustavi Women's Colony number 5, I've almost lost my eyesight. So now I write in encroaching darkness about the darkness that's falling across my country, Georgia." Now, it seems to me here that we should take heart from those words that echoed around Malta after Daphne's death. Speak the truth, although your voice shakes. Because Zia spoke the truth, although her voice shook, and although she was frightened sometimes about what would happen, and she's been frightened in prison. She embodies that principle of speaking the truth, although your voice shakes, as does this remarkable woman and this remarkable woman sitting to either side of me. And Zia herself has made clear in that recent piece that she wrote about how important it is to her that she gets hope from those protesting on the streets. And she said this, "I've moments of weakness. Sometimes my eyes fill with tears, but I try not to stay in that state for long. The truth is, I've no other choice. This illegitimate government is trying to abolish journalism, the profession to which I've devoted 25 years of my life. My colleagues are in mortal danger simply for doing their job. For me to stay silent now would be to betray them, myself, and 60 other political prisoners in Georgia today. Outside these prison walls, people have taken to the streets for 9 months straight, holding EU flags aloft. They've been drenched by water cannons, suffocated by tear gas, brutalised by riot police, yet they refuse to surrender. Their determination is our hope. And we have